Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trading Tech Talk. It is May 19th, 6 p.m. Eastern. And of course, just like every week, another edition of our Trading Tech Talk session. And today's topic is going to be how to build my own trading strategies in less than 5 minutes using the MotiveWave strategy builder. All right, so let's get started. Trading is risky. Only risk what you can afford to lose. And when it comes to hypothetical performance or back test results, please keep in mind that these are not necessarily indicative of future performance. My name is Daniel Senig. I'm the technical strategist of tradingindicators.com. And I am joined today by Rainer Michaelis, who will discuss his Power Bundle portfolio and to see if you have any updates this week. Homa is going to be there as well. She will be manning the chat. And of course, Nicola will be there, who will be giving a demo of the strategy builder for MotiveWave. In fact, he will build 3 strategies, each in less than 5 minutes with just a few mouse clicks, if no programming skills required. So I think it's a super exciting topic today. Let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to quickly review what happened last week. We're going to look at what is new this week. Then we're going to straight into the strategy builder for MotiveWave, which lets you click together a strategy, a fully automated strategy in just a few minutes with no programming knowledge. Then we're going to do a bit of a context switch. We're going to go to Rainer's trading portfolio, which he put together using our Power Bundle indicators. We're going to see what has changed from last week and what is new. Okay, so last week we discussed the Super Trend Bullseye indicator, now in version 2.0, which is really the world's first auto-optimizing super trend indicator. No longer fiddling around with the parameters, wondering what are the best settings. The indicator will do it all for you. There's an auto-optimization function which will figure out what are the best parameter for a given symbol and time frame. But even if you want to use your own settings, the indicator will show you how well these settings are performing. It has a statistics box right on the chart, which will tell you how many trades were taken, to the long side and the short side, what is the win ratio, and what is the profit factor. And on top of this, we have built in with Super Trend Bullseye 2.0 a powerful scanner, which will not only allow you to scan for buy or sell signals, it will also allow you to scan for the most profitable symbols out there, which is really a game changer. Last week, we then also went on and discussed building a swing trading portfolio with our Power Bundle 360 indicators. And Rainer has walked us through a couple of stocks, and we're going to have a look how these stocks performed, whether they were triggered or not, and what's next on the menu for this week. And if you're wondering where are the recordings of these webinars, in case you missed one, well, they're all posted on our YouTube channel. So simply go to tradingindicators.com. In the top right corner, you have a little icon, a YouTube icon. Click on there and go to weekly webinars. And there you'll see all the recordings of these webinars. So what's new this week? We have updated or released an update to Super Trend Bullseye for MotiveWave. In fact, we fixed a small issue with the scanner, and now this version, which we just released, has an improved scanning capability, which will also sync up the scan results with the chart. So please look out for that update if you're using Super Trend for MotiveWave. Just now, Nicola has also published a new version 1.021 of the strategy builder for MotiveWave. In this version, we have integrated a new feature which will alert you whenever a trading plan has been triggered. So this can become handy if, for example, you do not want to enter into a trade when a plan is triggered, but just want to receive an alert, perhaps to do one last sanity check before you enter into this trade. So this is now possible with version 1.021. And talking about the strategy builder for MotiveWave, it is really a powerful add-on to MotiveWave because it allows you to click together using drag and drop, just a few mouse clicks, your own fully automated strategy for MotiveWave. No programming knowledge is required. And how this works and how the strategy builder can be used to fulfill your own ideas, we're going to show you now in this first part of this Tech Talk webinar. The strategy builder is really one of a kind. It is the only strategy builder that exists for MotiveWave. If you ever wondered how well an indicator is really working, or if you ever wondered if your trading idea that you have in your head or in your mind is potentially profitable, but you never had any hard evidence, well, now you have a tool to verify your intuition, which is called the strategy builder. You simply can now click together your trading idea. Then you can back test it and replay mode a MotiveWave and see what the results are. So instead of relying on your intuition, you can now have hard facts to verify if your trading idea is feasible. But it does not stop there. You can actually use your strategy for live trading in MotiveWave. It is not only for backtesting or testing. No, you can also use it for live trading. Now, what can you do with it? Well, first of all, you can create your own automated strategy. You can have multiple entry rules. You can have multiple exit rules. You can scale into position. You can scale out of a position. You can have stop losses. You can have multiple profit targets. All these can be defined with the strategy builder and MotiveWave. And again, no programming knowledge required. You can also, for example, enter into a position manually and then have the strategy exit the position for you, because perhaps that's your style, or vice versa. Perhaps you only want the strategy to enter into the position and then you do the exit manually. This is also possible. And of course, as mentioned before, if you have an idea in mind, but you're not really sure, oh, is this really profitable? Perhaps it was just a one-off thing which worked on one day, but may not work on any other days. Well, now you have a tool which allows you to test the strategy on historical data using the replay mode of MotiveWave. And of course, the strategy builder comes equipped with saving features, loading features, which will allow you to save a strategy to file, load it up a couple of days later, or even share it with other users as you like. Enough theory, let's put this to practice. So let's create some strategies together. And I promise you, each of these strategies will take less than 5 minutes to complete. The first one is a VWAP crossover strategy. It will be applied to the 5-minute chart. It will enter into a trade only after 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So we have a timing condition there. And it will go long if close crosses above the VWAP, or we go short when the close price of our 5-minute bars crosses below the VWAP. The VWAP, of course, the volume weighted average price. And we're going to have a stop loss condition, which is actually going to be a trailing stop based on an ATR channel. Strategy number 2 is going to be based on our Super Trend Bullseye indicator. We have discussed Super Trend Bullseye in length and in depth last week. And today we are going to show you how you can automate the signals of Super Trend Bullseye to create your own strategy. And for this, we are going to use a very simplistic approach. We're going to follow strictly the buy and sell signals of Super Trend Bullseye. And now strategy number 3 is going to be based on our Volatility Crusher indicator. In this case, we are going to use Volatility Crusher to create a strategy which will follow the long and short signals of Volatility Crusher. And once we're in a trade, we're going to manage the trade by exiting the trade when the target levels of Volatility Crusher are reached, or when the trailing stop of Volatility Crusher is reached. So how this all can be done in just a few clicks will now be shown to you by Nicola.
So the strategy builder is really based on the idea that you can kind of hobble together your own strategies and create them, your own automated strategies, based on plots or indicators that you've applied to the chart, as well as various conditions, related to time or your account, and also set up targets and stops and all these cool features. So first, I'd just like to open up Strategy Builder and just take a look at the interface so you get a feel for it if you've never seen it before. In the Welcome tab, you have the option to create a new strategy. You can name your strategy, set a save location, or you can load a strategy that you've already created. You can select the file and decide whether you'd like to overwrite or not. In global settings, you're then able to determine whether you'd like the strategy to update or check its conditions and actions on every bar update, the open, the close, and various other options like the max number of entries per direction. Now, the cool part, the meat of the strategy builder, is your trading plans. And you're able to have up to 10 trading plans that you can add in here and define. And every trading plan comes with a set of conditions and then a set of actions that it'll take. So you have plot conditions, account conditions, and time conditions. And then when these conditions are satisfied, the strategy will consider that this plan has been triggered and it'll take its actions. So just to give you an example, you can open up your plot conditions and say, for example, if the close 5 bars ago is greater than the low, on this bar, then, and the time is Monday at this time, then do X, Y, or Z, go long or short. And I'm going to get into detail in a moment when I start our first strategy. And then you're able to set targets and stops. So when a trading plan opens a position, you need to be able to exit that strategy, right? So you're able to exit that position. So you're able to create target and stops, up to 20 different targets and stops in your strategy. You can have multiple targets and multiple stops for different positions. And there's a lot of variety in the options that you're able to select. So for example, if I wanted to say this target is associated with my plan 1 position, I'm then able to say if I want a dollar amount, percentage, specific price-based target, I can have a market or limit order and base my target on a plot that's on the chart, like the high of yesterday or the week high, etc. And you can set the order size on a lot of different options, your percentage of your strategy, the percentage of your total account position, a specific quantity, etc., etc. So without further ado, let's hop right into making our first strategy. So the idea behind this strategy is that if we get a cross, so if the close price crosses above or below the VWAP in the later half of the day, so after 1:30 p.m. around, then I want to go long if it's a cross above or short if it's a cross below. And I then want to set up a trailing stop. I'm using another built-in study from MotiveWave here for my trailing stop called the ATR channel. Both these studies, I just have the default settings on them. So what I'd like to do here, let's say on this bar where we got a cross above the VWAP near 2 o'clock, I want to go long right here and then set a trailing stop based on the lower band. And I want this trailing stop to update its price with the broker according to this lower band, but I only want it to trail. So I never want it to get more loose. I want it to adjust according to this lower band, but only ever get tighter. So basically we're entering on a VWAP cross in the later stage of the day and then trailing our stop loss. The key part of building a strategy is already done, right? I've determined the logic for my strategy. I know what I want to do, and I have the indicators I need applied to the chart. So the strategy builder now has everything it needs for me to build this strategy. So I'll open up the strategy builder. I want to create a new strategy. I'm going to call this strategy late day trailing VWAP cross. I can now move on to my trading plans. So we have 2 plans, right? One to go long on the cross above the VWAP and one to go short. So let's start with our long plan. We'll open up our plot conditions. And as we decided, we want to go long if the close price of the bar crosses above the intraday VWAP. And that plot is visible on the chart as VWAP bracket 1 day false. So this is saying if the close 0 bars ago crosses above the VWAP 0 bars ago, and if all these conditions are met, we only have this one condition enabled, we can have up to 15. And if the time is in the later half of the day, so I'm going to enable a bar time condition here in time conditions. If the bar time starts at or after 1330, so 1:30 p.m., and I'm not setting any account conditions. So if we have that cross and the time is after 1:30, then I want to take an action. So I open my actions and I want to do an entry, not an exit, an entry. And I want to enter long. And I'll say I want to go long with a market order for a specific quantity of shares. Or on Tesla, I'll say for 30 shares. Okay. And what this plan does now is once we get that cross in the later stage of the day, we're going to go long for 30 shares. And I'm going to open up a second plan here now to do the inverse, essentially, for short trades. So if the close crosses below the VWAP, and the time again is after starts at or after 1330, then I want to enter short market order, the specific quantity of 30 shares. Okay, great. So what this strategy will do now is it'll keep reversing directions every time we cross above and below the VWAP, going long and short. But we also want to have that trailing stop based on the ATR channel. So I go over to the targets and stops tab, and I'll create two stops, one for my short trades and one for my long trades. So for my long stop, I know that my long plan is plan 1. So I select associated entry plan, plan 1. Now I want to have this order type be a stop order, not a market order. And the type, I don't want it to be percentage or dollar amount. I want it to be based on a plot. And that plot is going to be the lower part, the lower band of the ATR channel. So for my price input here, I'm going to scroll down and find that plot, ATR bottom right here. Now, what I want this to do is I want my trailing stop to update as the lower band of the channel updates. So I'll select follow plot, but I don't want my stop to get looser. I only want it to get tighter. I only want it to trail. So I'll also select trail. And that's all we need for that logic to be set up. And I'm going to do the same thing for my plan 2, my short trade, a stop order that's based on a plot on the chart, but I'm going to set the top band of the ATR channel for my short stop. I want it to follow and I want it to trail. So we've now set up this entire strategy in a couple minutes. And the next step in MotiveWave for testing your strategy, you click create. And if anything went wrong, you should see a message on the chart letting you know in most cases. And the next step in MotiveWave is to run it in replay mode. So in MotiveWave, there's this feature, this button right here called replay mode. And it basically allows you to simulate, previous days of trading, historical data, to run it as though it was real time. So I'm on the 5-minute chart. I've started back on April 27th. And I can now activate my strategy and let it run and see if it performs as we expected. So now we let it run in replay mode. And of course, we're not going to get any trades prior to 1:30. But I'm going to slow down now because we're now getting close to 1:30 right here. And if we get any crosses above or below the VWAP after 1:30, this is 1:35. Right here, we had a cross below. Then we will get an entry. And here we got a short entry. And as expected, it placed our stop order at the top band of the channel. And this stop order should now trail with that plot. And as you can see, it is trailing. It's not moving with the plot when it gets looser, but it's coming down with it to trail. So as we move forward, our stop trails. Great, let it run. And we stopped out when we hit our trailing stop for a little profit. All right, so I'm going to let this run for a couple other days just to see what happens. And then I want to show how we can look at the performance of our strategy, the statistics.
Nicola, I have a few questions here, so let me know when's a good time to address them.
Sure, right now is a great time. Go ahead.
Okay, so Marcella wants to know, is there any way to set up a stop that after X amount of ticks will move to break even?
No, right now that feature is not available, but it is something we're looking to add because it's a common request. Another common request would be, for example, after your first profit target is hit, trigger a break-even adjustment in a stop. So we're looking at that for a potential future feature.
And one last question here. Why did you select trail and follow plot? This user thinks that it seems redundant.
Okay, so if I selected, I'm just going to let this run quickly to get to another trade so I can explain why. Moment. So the reason why we select both follow plot and trail is because following a plot doesn't necessarily mean your stop is always going to get tighter. So here we went short, and our stop is based on this upper channel of the ATR, this upper band of the ATR channel. Now, if price continues to move up, this upper band is going to keep going up, right? So if we only have follow plot enabled, our stop is also just going to keep following that upper band of the channel going up, and we're never going to get stopped out. But when we select follow plot and trail, then our trailing stop is only going to adjust to the value of this upper band if it tightens the stop. So we let that strategy run. I know it was very quick, but it worked as expected. And the last thing I want to show here for this strategy is how you can then view the performance of your strategy in MotiveWave. So there's a feature called Trade Report. You can click to open a new window, select Trade Report. It'll open this window, and then you select the account that you're running for, and you can generate a report for all your trades. So we could see here we had a profit factor of 2.167. We had 11 trades, percent profitable 36.40, et cetera, et cetera. You have all these statistics just like in a back test. So that's a great feature. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this strategy and move on to building a strategy around Supertrend Bullseye. So this is a common question. With Supertrend Bullseye version 2.0, how can you build a strategy with the strategy builder around it? So depending on the indicator you're building your strategy around, there's always important considerations. And one thing you want to make sure you do is just check in the cursor data window to see what are the plots that this indicator is generating. So for Supertrend Bullseye, there's only really two important signals, which are the Supertrend buy and Supertrend sell signals. So if I widen this, we can see on this bar in the cursor data window, we have a buy signal for Supertrend Bullseye, and here we have a sell signal. But for Supertrend Bullseye and Supertrend in general, it only generates its signals after a bar is completely closed, because it needs to make sure the close of the bar crossed above or below the trailing stop, not just the intra-bar high or low. So that's going to come into play when we try to build a strategy around this indicator. And what I'm going to do is just build a simple strategy which takes shorts, goes short when we get a short signal, and goes long when we get a buy signal. I'm going to just skip on naming it and all of those features. But one thing we need to pay attention to is, since Supertrend Bullseye only draws its signals after the bar is closed, when it knows it's closed, we're only going to know about this marker, this signal, at the open of the next bar. So for one thing, we want to make sure our calculation method is set to on bar open. We want it to evaluate its logic on every bar open. On bar update should work as well, but this is simpler. And we want two trading plans, right? One for our short trades and one for our long trades. And here's where this 1 bar waiting period also comes into play, because we want to go long, for example. Okay, we want to go long if we have a buy signal, but the buy signal is always going to be 1 bar ago, because it only draws itself once the bar is completed. So we need to say when the buy signal occurs 1 bar ago, when that is greater than a value of 0, then we want to go long. And we'll go long for default trade lots at market. And default trade lots just refers to the trade lots in trading options. And similarly, very simple, if we get a sell signal from Supertrend Bullseye 1 bar ago, and the value of that plot is greater than 0, then we want to enter a short trade. So we have our long entry and our short entry, and that's all we need. And I knew to set those values because if you look in the cursor data window, when we get a buy signal, it has a value of the close price, and otherwise it has no value. All right, so if I let this run now, it should trade the indicator as expected. So right away on this first bar, we entered long at the open because we had a signal on the previous bar. Here we've gone short. Here we've gone long, short, etc. And as I demonstrated last week, we can also optimize Supertrend Bullseye for better signals. So I hope that was clear. And I'm going to move on to our last example, which is setting up a strategy for volatility crusher. So we're going to build a strategy that trades volatility crusher. We've got volatility crusher here applied to the chart. And basically volatility crusher has 4 components. It's entry signals, which we see here, long entry and short entry. And then it plots its profit target 1 and profit target 2, and its trailing stop loss plots. And we're going to make a strategy which takes these signals, places limit orders for the targets, and places a trailing stop order that follows the plot on the chart. So it trades the indicator essentially perfectly as it is intended to be traded. So we'll open up the strategy builder. Okay, so we want to set up two plans, one for our long entries and one for our short entries. So I'll start with the long entry and open up my plot conditions. So in the Power Bundle indicators, there are two sets of plots for all the values, for the entry and exit values. And they're the ones that have in parentheses alert after it. And these are the ones you need to select in the strategy builder. So if we're looking for a long entry here, I'm going to select long entry parentheses alert. So if we had a long entry alert 0 bars ago, and the value of that is greater than 0, then we want to go long. And I'll say, let's go long at market for 100 shares. Okay. And similarly, for our short entries, if we have a short entry alert 0 bars ago, and the value is greater than 0, then we have a short entry for 100 shares. So the entries component of our strategy is already complete. We just need to move on to the targets and stops now. So we need to have 4 targets and 2 stops. 2 targets for our long trades and 2 targets for our short trades. Okay, so for our long targets associated with plan 1, I want them to be a limit order and based on a plot. And the plot I want them to be based on is the target 1 plot. So when we hit target 1, we don't need to click follow plot because it doesn't change values. So once we get long, it's going to place a limit order at target 1, and I want it to close out a percentage of the plan's entry order size. Or I could just say percentage. Yeah, percentage of plan's entry order size is fine. So I want it to take off half of the position there, 50%. All right. And now I move on to my target 2 for my long trade. A limit order again, based on a plot. And the plot will be target 2. I want to take off a percentage. Or in this case, I don't even have to say 50%. I can just say take off the remaining plan position. Okay. So we have our long targets. And now we do the exact same thing. Absolutely the same configuration for our short trades. The only difference is that we associate it with plan 2. So at target 1, I want to take off 50%. Okay. And target 2, we will take off the remaining plan position at target 2. Now we'll move on to the more interesting part, which is our stop loss. So for our long trades, plan 1, we want to place a stop order. We want it to be based on a plot. And the plot we want it to be based on is the stop loss plot. And we want it to follow the plot. We could set an offset, but I'm going to follow it to a T. And we don't need to select trail because the indicator already trails it itself. That in this case would be redundant. We'll do the exact same thing for our short plan, a stop order plot based. And we want it to follow the stop loss plot. And one thing I almost made a mistake here, I want to close out the remaining plan position. My other stop, I believe I also had default trade lots. There we go. Okay, so now this strategy should functionally, I believe, if I didn't make any mistakes, trade the volatility crusher signals. So let's pause it when we get a trade and see what has happened. Yeah, so here we got a short trade on the open of the next bar because volatility crusher also waits until the bar is closed. We got a short entry. Our 2 targets were placed here with limit orders down on this purple plot. And our stop loss was placed here at the initial value of the trailing stop. And as we move forward, we see that our trailing stop has trailed along with the plot. It's following it. And eventually, we'll get stopped out or we hit our targets. And yep, that's all there is to it for making a strategy around volatility crusher.
Now, if you want to take advantage of our strategy builder for MotiveWave, and if you want to automate your own strategies in often less than 5 minutes, you can take advantage of our lifetime offer, which we currently have going on. And of course, once you have the lifetime offer, there will be no recurring fee. You will get all the future updates. Nicola already mentioned it. There are a couple of new features which we have in the pipeline, which we're working on. And of course, you will get these new features. as they are released. We will also have regular live sessions for the strategy builder, which are outside of this weekly tech talk, just dedicated to the strategy builder. And of course, you will be invited to these sessions. So if you want to take advantage of it, simply go to our homepage, tradingindicators.com/strategy. Check out our product page. And if you're interested, give it a try. There's a 7-day money back guarantee, no questions asked. All right. So let's move on to part 2 of today's session, where we are going to continue building our trading portfolio using our Power Bundle 360 indicators.
I prepared a little graph here, which just for a little information about the market. This is the S&P 500, and what you see here is the daily chart, and I went back to 2019. Here you see the pandemic, wherein everything went down, and the reason I'm showing you this is very simple. We had great years. We had, like, even in the pandemic, we still had a 14.20% growth. Here we had about a 30% growth, and here we had a 33% growth. And since the beginning of the year, we are already 20% down. And they're expected could be even more coming with the inflation and stuff like that. So we just have to be patient. We just have to sit there, keep in cash, and then get in when there is the right time to do so. But it's quite interesting to see that we already pretty much leveled out quite a bit of what we had gained so far. Okay, that's just for your information. So last week, I said we will have a trade, and I want to go and show you something here, and I need to switch a little bit around. Here, I put the Excel up. You can download this Excel. I think Homer sent you the link. I have here 3 tabs. You have the rules. This is what we're using, the types of trades we do, the amount of concurrent positions, and I also put down here what we want to use for our stop loss. I added here, and it should be actually ADR. I'll change this later on for the stop loss, and at least twice we want to use for the profit. And the daily range, if we would use 1 here, stopped out immediately. So it's 1.5 of the daily range. And in order to have a 2-to-1 reward to risk, we have 3. And the second part, profit target 2, 4.5. Okay. We never want to risk more than 2% of the portfolio, and the starting amount is $10,000. So this is the trade we did. I went in, and I'll show you the graph. And you saw I went in here at, let me go here. On 5:15, it said filled here, and you can look this up all the time. It's Coca-Cola. The entry price was $66.24, bought 30 shares. The ADR at that time was 150. That is then calculated automatically. The total invest was roughly $2,000 because we want to have 5 positions, 10,000, 5 positions. So each position should not exceed about $2,000 right now. And we got stopped out. We have a per position, a $2.25 loss. So we lost a total of $67.50, which is about 3.4%. So no big harm. And that is what I call superb risk management. And risk management is extremely important. We went in because we had a bullish divergence signal on the 1 hour. We got stopped out because of, let me show you in a little bit. You also can access the calculator. And let me explain that a little bit. There's 3 green fields which you have to fill out. Here you put down your portfolio. Is it 10,000, 20,000, whatever you want. Then you enter the stock price here and the daily, the ADR, the daily range. You put that in here. You can see this in Trading View. You can see this here. There's the daily range and the stock price, and the daily range you see always here in this. It's 101.40 for the SPX right now. All right. Now let me just get back the Excel. Here it is. The next thing is, once you put that in, this automatically calculates your stop loss, the first profit target, and the second profit target, and also what kind of risk we have per position. The maximum risk we will have here is from the $10,000 portfolio is $200, and that would give us the chance to do 88 shares. Why? Very simple. Because if we take the stop loss, which is from 66 to 63, let's say that's $2.50, and we divide 200 by $2.50, we get 88 shares. However, when you multiply the 88 with the stock price, then you're way above what we allowed for the position size. That's why I have another calculation here. That is, the suggested max size of the trade is $2,000, and therefore we suggest to not buy more than 30 shares, okay? And this is dynamic. You fill only these three numbers and you will get the suggested amount of shares. So let's go a little bit to the graph. I showed you this one here, and I want to show you Coca-Cola, which we did. And you can see, it was beautiful here. We had some nice signal here. It came down on the 1 hour. We had a nice signal here to go in. I said, I will wait till it breaks the high to go in. Well, and then you saw this happened here. And the reason for that was very simple. We had earnings from the retailers, from Target and Walmart, and they really spoiled the party. You must say they spoiled the party. Everything was looking actually pretty good at the end of last week. It looked like we could have a nice bounce, but then Target came and it spoiled the party. Let me show you. I prepared something there too. So let's go in Target for a second. You see, Target had the earnings, and it really went down 43.59% from the last high here in November 16. That means that company lost a lot of money. And we will definitely keep this now in mind, because Target is a great store. They have great numbers, and this is probably going to be an awesome entry pretty soon. Same thing with Walmart. Walmart also was not really bringing good numbers, and the outlook was pretty dire. So it went down minus 26.32%. Pretty much, you see what happened here. Then we had last the COP, the ConocoPhillips. That's an oil stock. I told you we have a great signal here for entering the 1, 2, 3 strike. But because of the situation of the entire market, with what's going on with all the oil is at a limit right now. The oil prices are very high. Everybody says it's going to come down and so on. I was a little bit hesitant to jump in early, and I said, I wanted to break the high here. And then I saw the day when I actually said that, I saw a doji here. I don't know if you know what a doji is, but it's a candle that looks like this. Okay. And I said, wait, a doji is indecision, because that happens when you have the same amount of buyers and sellers. So the entry is the exit price, and that's always an indecision. Wait for the next candle. And boom, we went down. So I decided, nope, this is a no-go, but we'll keep it on our watch list. The next one I want to show you is Oxy. We had this on our plan. Here, it went through, and I was waiting for a signal. I was waiting that 1, 2, 3 strike would give me a signal, but it didn't show up. And then I looked a little bit more, and I said, you know what? 1, 2, 3 strike is pretty smart. Why? Very simple. Let me show you something. This is the way the price is running. And this is when we look at the momentum, the momentum is going. And what we call this, that's what we call a divergence, which means if the momentum is weakening and the prices still go up, which means this is losing power, it loses energy, and it's just a matter of time when it just will turn around. And this is what happened here. So I'm quite happy I didn't go in, wait for the signal, didn't come. So I was sitting on my hands and didn't do anything, okay? And we wanted to go in here, Google, it's not Google, it's Golden Ocean Limited. And the reason I didn't go in here is because I realized they had earnings, and we do not play when it's too close to earnings, because the stock can behave very, very strange. And therefore, we're not going to do it once there's earning. I'll keep it on the watch list. Okay. What I'm still watching quite tightly is the CF Industry Holdings. That is something which I think has still a lot of potential. This is a basic materials sector, and I'm actually expecting to break through. It didn't break through. I didn't get a signal, so I'm waiting patiently. And tell you the truth, with the current situation, I think it makes a lot of sense to wait a little bit, because there's going to be great buying opportunities. And like I said, risk management is top.
Thanks, Rainer, so much for this great walkthrough through your stocks that you're currently watching. So let me just advance here. So just as a reminder, we've looked at Strategy Builder for MotiveWave in the beginning of this section, a tool which allows you to automate your trading strategies in less than 5 minutes. And we have currently a lifetime offer available. Come and visit tradingindicators.com/strategy and take advantage of this offer. And it's really risk-free. There's a 7-day money-back guarantee. Now, our next Tech Talk will be, of course, next week on Thursday, as always, at 6 p.m. And the spotlight topic will be the Strategy Builder for NinjaTrader, which also allows you to automate your trading strategies, but in this case for NinjaTrader. All right, guys, so don't miss out next Thursday at 6 p.m. And of course, if there are any questions, suggestions, and feedback, please email them to Homa. She's always happy to receive any form of feedback at hj@tradingindicators.com.